about my education. I actually started out going to a community college in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I got a liberal arts degree, and then I transferred into their culinary arts program. So after I got done with my culinary arts program, I actually decided I really didn't want to work in restaurants necessarily. I wanted to actually be an R&D. So what I did was take a few years off, about a year and a half, and I just worked in restaurants. I understood the fact that restaurants can flop, they can fail, but they're also very fun to work in. But that was just not for me, so I transferred up here. I got a transfer agreement. Kirkwood had a transfer agreement, so what I did was just transfer up here in the fall of 2008. And I loved it here. I basically have so much fun. You'll have a lot of great experiences here, and you'll learn a lot. You'll have fun. It can be sometimes tedious. The science part is not necessarily the fun part, but it's also a requirement if you want to succeed. It's kind of like the stepping stone for it. So I graduated, as Chang said, this last May, and before I graduated, I had to work on a capstone project, which I worked on with Kirk Gosser, which a few of you probably know. These are the two projects or the products that we made. Was a blackened chicken Cajun pasta and a barbecue riblet with baked beans. And how we went through this whole entire process is that we first started with ideation. We brainstormed a lot of different ideas, and then we filtered through those ideas. And when we were filtering through the ideas, we also looked at products in the retail market already, and then we found the gaps that need to be filled in the retail market. So once we figured that out, then we developed a prototype, which is basically you try to figure out the parameters of which the product's going to meet. And then what we did was we tried utilizing, Chang wanted us to use the cryovac, multi-vac, I think it is?
Yeah, cryovac.
Cryovac technology to develop these meals. So that was basically what we kind of situated ourselves upon. And this is kind of, I'll pass this around. This is one of the pasta batches that we made. And this is actually the final process that we went through. And we also try to establish flavor profiles that we're going to used. So the chicken Cajun pasta, we kind of figured that Cajun is not necessarily something in the market right now, so it could be very profitable. And also with the barbecue riblets, we thought, well, Tommy Aromas has their packaging, but it's not necessarily in a tray format, so we try to utilize that as well. Once we got done with the parameters, we went into prototyping, which we actually started before winter break even happened. And we developed mini batches, and some were good, some were bad. Some had bacteria, some had air bubbles in it, which kind of was very susceptible to I don't know what, but it was not necessarily the greatest thing in the world. So we actually try to figure out like how to make it marketable, how it can be flavorful. There was problems with the texture, so we had to figure that out. We had to reformulate the formulation, and we also had to make sure that it was safe. So like the pH had to be changed. We had to make sure that the processes were good and like reduce the amount of handling that we could do throughout the process. And with that, we actually did microbiology testing to make sure that all of the batches were safe to eat. And because do you want salmonella or do you want E. coli in your food? Not really. So we had to make sure that we had a safe product to sell or possibly sell. And we also want to make sure that the shelf life was to the maximum that we could achieve. And I think it was like 45 days for both products that we were able to achieve under refrigeration without any like industrial preservatives. And then we also did sensory testing, which we basically, both Kurt and I, did a on-site, in actually the Copper Lounge, we did on-site sensory testing, which students would get questionnaires about the two products. They would taste it, they would evaluate the texture, the appearance, the flavor, and then we would make sure that the evaluation was good, and if it wasn't, then we tried changing it a little bit so it would be more appealing to the customer. And additional steps during the capstone project, we also did a nutritional analysis just to make sure that when you're going through the manufacturing process, you have to actually do that. It's kind of like nutrition is kind of essential in today's world. So just doing that, we had to do food cost, just make sure that the price of the food, making the food and the labor involved would not, if there would be profit involved. And then also we had to do a HACCP plan, which that's really essential nowadays. Like I know with the last recall with the eggs, that's kind of a big thing right now. And with I think deli meat that happened, that's becoming more of a problem or more essential. So that was another thing that we had to do. Before I entered my senior year, I actually did an internship with Pizza Ranch Corporation. And my position there was a culinary research and development intern. What I did there was my major project there was to develop a HACCP plan. So it kind of helped me understand the HACCP plan that I had to do for the capstone project before being had to do it. And that was a big step. Like I think that was over 200 pages that I actually had to go through that plan. I managed and helped the preparation for product development sampling. So anything that they had to do throughout all the items that they did through Pizza Ranch, they would either have to do QA or other kind of, they're doing new product development. So we would do product testing, like with the director of operations, the culinary innovation director, and also like the purchasing manager. We would all sit down and make sure that like, this is how we want it, and if it's not good, then we have to change it. If it is good to go, then it goes on as a promotional item, or they change the way that they do stuff in the restaurant. Also, I was involved in updating the Genesis. It's a nutritional database, and it's also, you do a lot of R&D work on that too. And also, I formulated an updated ingredient statement. So what they wanted to do is to, in the future, they wanted to package it in retail. They wanted to just change it up because in Genesis, it's all under like each item. So I had to reformulate every single item on the menu. And then I also gathered research and data for upcoming promotional on menu items. So if there was anything that there was problems with, or if my supervisor wanted a question about, I would basically research it and give her the information that I found. And then just recently, I just went down to Miami, Florida for my internship with Burger Corporation. My position there was a culinary innovation intern. This is kind of like a breakdown. I was kind of a little bit creative beyond that. It was basically how I built my experience, and how they do stuff there is they have builds. So everything has a build. If you get a chicken sandwich, they have a build for that. But how I first started out my summer was I actually organized their culinary catalog, which all the concepts that go through the corporate chef, it has to go into like a cataloging system on their computer profiles. And so I had to do that. And then, And then I also built new concepts during the monthly manager test tasting, which the global director of product innovation and product marketing was there. All the managers for the portfolios, like from breakfast to core, which is the Whopper and the chicken itself, and breakfast, they would all come in and I would be there and I would present some stuff and I would actually come up with ideas too. So that was one of the other things I did. Also, I